morning, everybody. It is Monday again. Here is to a stress-free week where we can concentrate on true crime, not true grime. Who is in the house? I see Raven. Joanne Lane is having storms. Sonia, what up, my girl? There's our girl Angel P. We are not going to have any storms. Well, not from the sky anyway. Fingers crossed we don't have any anywhere else. However, this is our week. Today, 99. Tomorrow, 100. Wednesday, 101. Thursday, 102. And Friday, 101. Kiss my ass. And that's not even with the heat index. You have got to be kidding me. Do not have time for that. So how was everyone's weekend? We ate like pigs. I'm telling you, we made some pizzas on the grill. I sent a picture to Angel P. They're super easy to make. You get that naan bread. It's like that Indian bread. Sorry if that sounds racist, but that's what it is. Naan, it's made by Indians. And you put it on the grill, you put your sauce on there, whatever toppings you want. Man, it was good. Then old DT Driver, a few weeks ago, brought home some boudin from Louisiana. Look at that. True Crime Beats always already calling me out. That's racist. I don't know. I just don't know what to tell you. You're exactly right, though. I'll go back. Naan bread, which is made by people from India. It's amazing. See, Robin Brown knows what I'm talking about. She said, nope, I'll be sitting in my living room with the AC, the heat index where she lives, not too far from me, 109. 109. But anyway, we put these pizzas on the grill. Amazing. And like I said, old DT Driver brought home some boudin from Louisiana. We put that on the grill on Saturday. Great. It was amazing. I'm going to drop the link for Lana. I sent a link to Brandy. She's charging her phone. Speaking of storms, Lana and Brandy are having their own storms right now, but totally different. They're evacuating part of the state because of the wildfires. Sonia said, what is that? Boudin? It's in a casing. They make it in Louisiana. I'm sure I can send you some. But it's rice, Cajun seasoning. This one had jalapeno in it and pork sausage. And it's really good. Yeah. Lana, are you surviving these fires? I heard people's eyes are...
Oh my God. It is so bad. We live in a valley here in Boise, so it just sits right over us like a thick blanket, and if you have any kind of breathing issues, like I've got a little bit, I'm not as bad as some people with allergies or asthma that are really struggling, but it is so bad right now for everyone here. I can't imagine those that are closer to the fires because we're states away, and it's still coming over here. So
they evacuated one of the towns in Idaho. I was watching it on the show today. Not the show, but on the Today Show. Not my show.
Yeah.
Talking to Brandy this morning. And she said that she has to like cover up her mouth and stuff like that because, you don't want to breathe that smoke.
I have a friend here in Boise who just had her second baby. He's 4 weeks old, and her older baby is now 2.5, 3. And she posted yesterday on Facebook that, out of desperation, she took her toddler to the mall to play. Because it's so smoky everywhere, and she needed to be able to get him out of the house and let him play, and you just can't go in your yard with this much smoke and little babies. And so she was running him around the mall and letting him do all the little, mall things that are there for kids. So you
Of
got to get
course.
creative.
Britt said, we have seen the haze all weekend, I swear, here in Minnesota. Wist lives not too far from you, not going to give out her location.
Okay.
She said, yes, it's very smoky over in Meridian. Well, she doxed herself.
Okay.
Maybe that's why I feel so weird.
Yes, she did. She doxed herself. That's funny.
Now,
Yeah, it's very
I
smoky.
don't know why Ernie is backstage. Ernie, can you send me a private chat? Is there something that you want to add to this conversation about Michael Vaughn being abducted 3 years ago? Before we get to this clip about the wildfires, let's tell everyone good morning and a happy Monday. How is everyone? Tell me about your weekend. Lana had a very busy weekend. Now, did you go to the motorcycle ride for Michael over the weekend? I know you were decorating your car and stuff.
Yeah, I did. I went. I couldn't find what I wanted for my car, but I did decorate with posters all over, and I did go live in the Michael Vaughn community support group, Monkeys Missing Kids of Idaho, and kind of recorded the whole thing. I had Ben with me in my car for the ride. He joined us last minute, which was really sweet. So he kind of took the phone and was the cameraman while I drove. And we followed the bikes. There was several cars. I thought that I would be, one of two cars because the organizer had a truck. But there ended up being like quite a bit of cars that showed up as well as bikes, all decorated, all honking, all, participating and supporting Michael and his family.
And I was afraid that the fires were going to affect you, but it seems like everybody got through it. How were the fires?
Well, the fires aren't like near us. We don't see them. They're all the way over in Oregon. So it's way like middle Oregon, I think that it's floating over. And then this time of year, there tends to be fires all around us. I know last year there was one from Canada that swooped down and covered us as well. But the smoke, I thought it would be worse when I got up there, but it hit me when I was up there. It is a higher elevation, from Fruitland, Payette, Weiser, up that way. So there was less smoke. I actually saw sky when I was in Fruitland, and you haven't been able to actually see the sky in Boise for a while. So the smoke was still there, though. We could still, it didn't affect anyone. It didn't affect the ride whatsoever. We did have an issue with a truck driver from May Trucking in Payette that was really pissed off and annoyed with the ride and entourage and kept trying to go around us. I have it. I sent the clip to the organizer who reported it to the truck driver's company, but they literally almost killed a biker.
Holy hell. They know better than that. They're professional drivers.
Well, I'll send you the clip because I had to go back through, like I said, Ben was live streaming. We were live streaming the whole ride. So I have the whole thing. And this truck driver had been behind us, and I could see him, through parts of Fruitland, coming up in the left lane, and he would speed up really fast, and he'd be right next to us, and then couldn't get around, or we got to the junction and he couldn't quite get around us, or continuously getting frustrated through the entire town of Fruitland. And
he can wait
because the cops didn't, nothing was blocked off, so other people were moving, things like that. And then the clip that I shared, he came around this drive, well, he or she, they took the middle lane of the road and tried to go around the entire entourage. And then when they couldn't, they swoop in, and it literally looks like he takes out the biker. And I even yelled, and Ben yelled, and we were like, oh my God. And fortunately did not hit the biker. But it's bad. It's scary. It's like a 45-mile-per-hour speed limit area, and this truck driver was clearly going above that, trying to go around us, not giving a shit what was going on.
He should have gotten a ticket. And I mean, his broker can reschedule his load. That is ridiculous. Okay, let's look at this. This is also going on in your state.
Also, level 3 go now evacuations in place for the entire town of Julietta in Idaho tonight. The Gwen fire is burning 26 miles southeast of Moscow, Idaho. We have heard that multiple reports of destructions close to the city. KREM 2's Shannon Mowdy continues our team coverage live near the fire line tonight. Shannon?
Well, Mark, I am above the town of Julietta right now, and as I am standing here, there are no flames in the town, but of course, the Gwen fire and the nearby river fire have now been combined into what's being called the Gwen fire complex.
Where is Gwen?
Glenn?
Gwen. They keep saying the Gwen fire. Is that in Oregon?
It's gotta be. I don't even know. I know, well, Glens Ferry's Idaho. It's gotta be. I'd have to look it up, and I'm on my phone. But
It's
I'm
okay,
pretty sure. Yeah, because the Glen's not around here. So
Rusty has a question. Were these the conditions when Michael was abducted? Were there any fires going on at that time?
not that I'm aware. We did not have, usually the fire season in Idaho when it gets this bad is August. So I'm going to, again, without researching specifically, at least from the pictures that I've seen of the search and whatever that day that was going on, all the multiple images, I did not see smoke. I don't remember seeing smoke in them. So I don't think there was fires going on like this that day.
Okay.
Now, the Gwen fire and river fires started on Wednesday due to lightning strikes, and that complex is, according to the Idaho Department of Lands, an overnight Thursday winds pushed the flames into a significantly larger fire.
It was around 20,000 acres. We're working to contain that every minute.
A team from Rocky Mountain Incident Command is expected to be here Saturday. They are going to take over the command of the Gwen Fire Complex, as well as smaller fires in this area. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
And she's here. Everyone, big round of applause for Brandy Neal. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Actually, I want to, right before I got into StreamYard, at the time Michael was abducted, yes, there were tons of fires around us.
Was there?
Yeah, hence the monkey looking at the moon and the stars. Because the moon was red. You can't see it in the video, but it was so smoky at the time of that video.
Yeah, we get really awesome moon views during the fires. I have to admit that too. Same with the sun. Sometimes how it looks is really cool.
Especially here in the valley, right over here on the cliff. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It is.
But it sucks to breathe sometimes. But
well, he likes the moon, the stars, solar system. He's so curious.
Yes, he is.
He is so curious. Now, this came out a few days ago. A lot of people have questions. This is from Missing and Exploited. Michael's photo is shown. Age progressed to 7 years. He was last seen on July 27th, 2021. Michael was last known to be wearing a light blue t-shirt with a Minecraft logo on it, dark blue boxer briefs, and sandals. And so the age progression that Missing and Exploited has put out, well, I was going back and forth with Lana, and then I called you because that was,
Yeah.
it's not about my feelings, but this broke me. This broke me. That's exactly what Susan just said. This broke me.
Yeah, because it doesn't do. They did an amazing job. They really did do an amazing job. But a photo doesn't replace the fact of 3 years of Michael not being here, watching him grow. You know, did he get a new scar? How many teeth has he lost? You know, the lady that did this was absolutely, she took her time, and the work that goes into these age progression photos, I commend these people for the work they do.
A lot of people had questions like, why are they doing an age progression? This is actually common. They've done.
We get
Yeah.
that a lot in the community group too, and the admin, you know, and I were talking before this came out, and you know, and I had that conversation with Brandy as well, and was like, you know, what do we tell people? Like, you know, last law enforcement said they presume Michael's deceased and was buried in the Wondrous Yard, as we all know, and why this and why now, and really, I think the best answer is the fact that Michael is still missing.
Yep.
And this is the best guess of what he may look like today from these experts if he was here with his family. And the point is, the major point is to put this out and hopefully stir that pot and get some more tips that lead to a resolution.
I love that answer because,
Yes.
as you know, in the case of Kyron Horman, they have been investigating a murder for the last 14 years, but they've had 2 age progressions for him. In the case of Summer Wells, Pruitt has said, you know, we'd like to be hopeful, but the odds of her, you know, being alive are slim to none. And they did an age progression for her. Now, people have asked me, well, then why don't they do one for Harmony Montgomery? Because her father has been convicted of murder.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Exactly that. And just, you know, we trust law enforcement, we support them, you know, they've given us, the public, as much information as they can, and just because they said Michael is presumed deceased, you know, his body, Michael, has not been found, remains have not been found, none of that. So it's really hard for me as a supporter and a friend of the family to sit there and look at them and be like, okay, this is, you know, concrete, we know this is fact, when we don't, because we don't have Michael yet. And he's still out there, he's still missing, he's not, you know, been deemed, you know, deceased, he's not been legally, you know, said so, nothing. He's still presumed missing and endangered, and we still need to work really hard to share his face and share his story and to pressure these people that aren't talking to come forward.
Like these 4?
Well, not
Right.
just those 4. I made a comment in the group recently about how police have, you know, said multiple times that there's many non-compliant in the community, and one of the people in the group jumped me the other day and was like, what do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. Since the police are trying to pin it on these 4 people, etc., and so on, like this person was saying, they totally would get a lawyer and lawyer up if they were a neighbor also, because of what police are doing to these people. And I'm like, please link me to anything from law enforcement that shows, because she used the word cleared, that these 4 were cleared. And I said, I'd like to see that, because, you know, that hasn't happened yet. Please, I'm waiting. And
No, these 4 have not been cleared.
They have not been cleared. And that's what she put in the comment in the group.
Chief Huff made it extremely clear to Morgan Romero when Stacy said he'd been cleared. And he came right in and said, no, he is a suspect.
Yep.
Now, these 4, I really
Highlight that word, suspect.
Yep.
That is the word. These are
the word. That's what they are.
They're not
Chief Huff also validated that exact statement, Brooks, to the Argus Observer in print in one of their articles during this last 6 months. I'd have to go find it. I want to say it's April off the top of my head. But even then, he was like, they are very much all still suspects in the disappearance of Michael.
Every dang one of them. And this is not 1980. There's no pinning it on anyone. Kimberly Mann has a question. How can the public push for them to be extensively interrogated, all of them? Well, the FBI went to see Brandon up in Montana, and he about shit his britches. He didn't know what to do. They have talked many times to Sarah. We know they've talked to Stacy because he spoke about it on this show. Stacy is the one that said, look in the backyard. Stacy did not realize that while he was in jail the first go around after Michael's abduction, that while him and Sarah were in jail, Michael was moved. Brandon is in Kuna right now. Now, I have sent a few messages and I can see that they're read. The best thing for Brandon to do is clear his soul and just talk about what happened that day, because it is verified that he was with Sarah and Stacy.
Talk about what was done that day honestly, without all of his bullshit lies, in my opinion. Sorry
And
for my mouth.
On the 28th and on the 29th, on the 30th, on and on and on. Who was at the house when Sarah had to supposedly go back to the hospital? How many taxi runs did we have?
Yep. Well, and I'd like to know a little more about that trip out of state as well that they all took and who was with them when they went. You know, we know, matter of fact, that the fourth person in this scenario, Adrian, and you're probably listening as well, was there, maybe not that night, but he was there the next day. He was there before that day for months, and he was there in the Wonder home until August 20th. So I'd like to know from Adrian as well what happened every single day around this event.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think anybody wants to know more than Brandy and Tyler.
Agreed.
Oh God, no, it's heartbreaking. You know, I show up yesterday and, you know, they're just sitting outside and in the garage and cutting ribbons for the ride, and, you know, Buggy's running around playing, and it's just heartbreaking to show up every time and see these wonderful, loving parents literally just become shells of themselves. And it's not for lack of trying. Like, they are trying so hard to take care of themselves. You know, they really are. And yet they're just physically falling apart every single day. And it just gets worse, because anyone who deals with any kind of health issues, we all know what stress does to our bodies.
You better believe it.
It's just so hard for me to watch. And then just to see Bob, you know, same thing. He's always kind of sitting in the corner, just quiet, just a shell of himself, you know. And then this bright little sunshine beam comes through Buggy. Whoa, Auntie Juana! She's just screaming and happy, and you know, and lightens it all up, and you just immediately see Tyler's face just beam. She just walks by and he's just grinning ear to ear, her little voice, and he just smiles, and she's what, you know, her and the other kids just keep him going.
Mm-hmm. Gotta have her Buggy. One thing Buggy doesn't understand, she has a stuffed animal that looks just like OJ. Have you broken to her yet that OJ is a fake Bombay cat?
I have not. I don't think I can tell her.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I think she's, yeah, I think her OJ is just going to be just fine.
Okay. Because I guess I was lied to by the veterinarian and by the son of the family that originally had him, because that was a crazy day tracking down all those people. It's a crazy story. If Atlanta's ever heard it. Yeah, OJ made a break out of South Tulsa. The man that owned him and several other cats, older people, and he passed away, unfortunately. He lived a long life. The mom couldn't take care of herself. Grandma couldn't take care of herself, so she went to a nursing home. They had tons, I shouldn't say tons of cats. There's a Maine Coon. I think the Maine Coon was named
gorgeous.
Poe. 2 Siamese. They're in Missouri, Texas now. An Egyptian Mau. That's in Colorado with the Maine Coon. Well, they're all named after famous authors. Well, the fake Bombay that was originally named Ernest Hemingway, he made a break for it. When I spoke to Jason and we talked about it, he was like, oh, that's Ernest. Nobody likes that cat. Please don't tell Buggy that no one likes OJ.
I just have to say, I think it's hilarious that you have a black cat named OJ. I've always thought that.
Well, I thought OJ was a girl, and I've always liked the name Olivia Jane. And plus, our last name is Jones. And then he goes to the vet, and they're like, congratulations, it's a boy. And I'm like, eek.
Oh
They're
my
like,
gosh, that's like my kitten I have now. I have a new, I always have cats that show up, but I have a new kitten. Well, it's a year old now, but it showed up last September. Black and white, had a little pink collar on it, no tag, no chip, nothing. Thought it was a girl, put out posters. And to me, it looks like Flower the skunk from Bambi. So I called her Flower and was trying to find her home and all that. And a couple months go by and I'm like, okay, like Flower, nobody's claiming Flower, and I take Flower into the vet to get her, fixed. And I come back and they're like, Flower's a boy. She just started laughing. And I'm like,
and
well,
I love
Flower
that
the skunk
name.
was a boy too. So
Oh, that is hilarious. I was probably 31 years old before I realized Bambi was a boy. What the hell? I've been lied to my whole life. Imagine imagine my shock. Lied to all the time. What are you going to do? So let's get to the weekend, because you had a very successful ride. And sometime when you guys are both available, we need to talk about Crime Con, how to get you all down there. I know where Greg, myself, and the fake Bombay are going to stay. And we're going to go through all of that. So just let me know what's a good time for all of you. Or the two of you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, not a problem. Let's talk about that on the side, because I know Brandy's got some plans for some various things that she's wanting to talk about that we don't want to announce yet. So yeah, let's do that.
Nope, not at all. And we have about a year. I already know Pat Kay's going to be there. Sweet Toughness is going to be there. Mermaid and Snow are going to be there. I believe, well, I don't want to say, because a few other people have said they have plans, but I don't want to say if they can't go. I don't want to make them feel bad. All right, let's get to this.
Tomorrow marks 3 years since little Michael Monkey Vaughn went missing from outside his home in Fruitland. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children released an age progression photo of what Michael would look like today. Then 5-year-old Michael was reported missing on July 27th of 2021, and he's not been seen since. Police believe his remains were once buried in a backyard very close to his home in Fruitland. The people who lived in the home, Stacy and Sarah Wandra, remain suspects in the case, along with 2 other people police previously named. Today.
Okay, this is from Chief Huff. Despite the possibility of confusion, we found it necessary to make the photo public as an additional resource in the search for Michael, who has yet to be found. We believe we have a firm understanding of the events that occurred on July 27th, 2021, but it ultimately depends on the Payette County prosecutor to assemble the case and move it forward. Now, that's going to answer Bonafide's question, because she wanted to know why Brandon hasn't been arrested on reasonable suspicion. It's in the hands of the prosecutor. Now, I do understand right now he has another trial going on. So,
Yeah, for his marijuana charge, I believe, right? Or in his what is the other one? What is it? Probation violation.
Yeah.
well, we know, so Stacy's in jail, Sarah's in jail, Brandon's been pulled over, but isn't the DA or the prosecuting attorney, doesn't he have a trial going on right now for like double
Oh, in
homicide?
Payette County, yeah. There's something else that he's that's going on right now as well. Yeah, I don't remember what it is, but I do know what you're speaking of. Yes.
Yeah, there's other things
There's
going on
also
at the moment.
a murder that took place in New Plymouth, a double homicide that the county has been heavily invested in. So, people have to remember this is a small county, and sometimes resources are limited, and sometimes there are multiple big things going on.
Bonafide said or probable cause they can hold him, but for how long until his mama bonds him out?
Right.
You see, when these criminals are on the outside, they talk to other people. And that's what the police need, because people call in tips and say, this is what Brandon told me. This is what Brandon told me. I mean, like Stacy was on this show 3 or 4 days in a row.
Well, in the affidavit with Stacy, I believe, how many felons was he in contact with where he wasn't supposed to be in contact with?
And
Yeah,
one
that was read
was
out loud in
Brandon.
court. I was there.
And one was Brandon. Yep. Lana was there. One was Brandon, and the other one was Randy Strickland, who was living in the house.
Yep.
When him and Sarah went to jail. Now, imagine the look on Stacy's face when he tried to take that plea deal. And they said no, because he told us it was based on finding, I can't remember the word now. It was based on finding Michael. Yeah, absolutely. And Brandy, anytime you need to get off of here, please do.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people work with this prosecuting attorney, how many prosecuting attorneys there are. That does make a huge difference. If you got one person running the show, well, that one person can only do one job and can only be in court because he's one person, at a time, if you know what I mean.
True.
Exactly. And it is a small office. I'm like you. I don't know how many people are in there. It wouldn't take but a few minutes for me to find out for sure. But it is a small office.
Because like Tulsa County is a big county. Okay.
Hey, you two.
Is that your new puppy?
No, it's my crazy old cranky cat. She sees things and attacks them like randomly, and there's nothing there. And it sounds like somebody's beating her, but she's really just attacking the air.
That is hilarious.
She's 15 years old. She's an old gal.
This part of what JD said, though, gave me chills.
Yeah.
I understand there's tons of questions and there's tons of why don't they? Why don't they? Why don't they? Why don't they? Well, we don't know. We don't know why they don't. But when JD is saying, we believe we have a firm understanding of the events that occurred on July 27th, 2021, but it ultimately depends on the Payette County prosecutor to assemble the case and move it forward.
I trust what JD says.
Oh, 100%. And please don't forget, everyone in chat, Snow has a huge crush on JD.
Oh, he's pretty cute, and he's even cuter in person.
Oh, don't make Snow drive into the fire. Do not.
The Fruitland police chief said in a statement, quote, "Despite the possibility of confusion, we found it necessary to make the photo public as an additional resource in the search for Michael, who has yet to be found. We believe we have a firm understanding of the events that occurred on July 27th of 2021, but it ultimately depends on the Payette County prosecutor to assemble the case and move it forward, end quote. 7 Investigators reached out to the prosecutor's office this week for an update on the case, but we have not heard back. The community has not forgotten about Michael. People organized a motorcycle ride in support of the little boy and his family. That's tomorrow, starting at 6 p.m. It'll travel through Fruitland and in front of his home.
Goodness. And that's why the title of the show, Community Outpouring, because the community is not going to forget. I know this community is never going to give up. But the people of Fruitland have also been victimized. Now, not in the same way as Brandy and Tyler and their family, and especially Monkey. But the people of Fruitland have got to be on the edge, knowing that this happened in a small little town.
They absolutely do. There's a gas station that's close to here that I frequent, grab quick things and stuff. And one of the gals, she's got 2 little boys, and apparently they're elopers. And she asked me one day, she's like, I hate to do this to you, but would you mind talking to my little boys, because they know all about Michael?
Aww.
And would you mind talking to them, because I'm so scared, because she works late nights and stuff and long hours and different shifts, and I was like, you can bring them over anytime you want, and we can sit down and have a conversation. Absolutely. So in all of the businesses still have Michael's pictures up, and
Idaho Pizza had hashtag Bring Monkey Home up on their sign.
Yeah, it hasn't been taken down
on the Fruitland one. Oh, okay.
Nope.
So over in the rest of the valley, I continue to see that too. Just to add to the point, I see because Idaho Pizza has like 10 locations, I think, all over the valley.
16.
16. Okay, so
Yeah.
Some of the other ones around here in the city, they vary because of course they put their promos up, but every so often I will see it on their signs in other locations other than Fruitland. And I still see so many homes. Every so often I'll send Brandy a photo because I'll happen to drive by and be like, oh shit, that house has a monkey sign or a monkey yard sign or a poster or something up, still, because they haven't forgotten about Michael.
Exactly. And anytime I run into community members and people that I don't even know personally, to be honest with you, and they stop me and, you're Monkey's mom. Yes, I am. And just know that we're praying for him and we're praying for you guys every day, and we hope he's brought home soon. We hope he's brought home now. I mean, nobody's forgotten.
Nope.
Nobody's forgotten about Michael, and we'll make sure that nobody does.
No, one of the favorite things, speaking of children real quick, anytime we're at an event, and this happened over the weekend as well at the ride, I can't even put words to it, the feeling that I feel when I see children gravitate to Brandy, because they feel connected to Michael, and because it's hard to imagine as an adult, we can't rationalize what's happened to this child as an adult. So how does a child's mind rationalize that another child from their community has been abducted? And then they, these little kids love their mommies, and they look at Brandy and are just like, oh my gosh, and they just run to her, and it's the cutest, sweetest, most loving thing. One of the Christmas vigils that the community did, a little girl came up and just, I don't know, she was like 9 or 10, I think, and gave
The blue elephant.
An elephant or something.
The blue elephant.
Yeah, didn't even know the family, but her mom was like, hey, my daughter wants to because the little girl has been following the case, because the little girl was affected and traumatized, didn't even know Michael, and it traumatized her. So yes, this community is definitely affected by this tragedy.
Oh, 100%. C of the Missing said it's told that the walking man in that photo walking at 6:30 p.m. is Brandon Shurtleff. How can Brandon Shurtleff be with Stacy and seen at 6:30 walking in the neighborhood? I think we have our times a little mixed up. That was earlier in the day. He couldn't have been in the truck verified and walking at 6:30. That was earlier in the day. And
Yeah, I don't believe that photo has been verified that it was Brandon. Law enforcement has not stated that. No, law enforcement has not stated that they know who the walking man is.
No, they have
as
not.
far
Thank
as
you for
I know
clarifying that.
publicly.
No. Or the Honda Pilot, Brandy. They still have not said that that's been cleared. They have said that they think they know who owns it.
Right.
But that's it.
That's just my speculation, because to me it looks like him. He's got the sleeveless shirt on. Stacy,
yeah.
And so that's a guy that walks around all the time. But people in the neighborhood say, no, we've never seen that guy walking around.
Horseshit. Excuse my mouth. Sorry.
No, you're right. It is horseshit. But this is the reason when, C of the Missing. We have a whole playlist if you want to go through it, because Brandy has never said that was Tyler walking around. That's not, Tyler is not walking man.
No, Tyler was not walking around, and Tyler is not walking man, despite what other speculations have been stated and continue to be stated, because I continue to see that people saying, I think that's Tyler. No.
That would be.
By the way, Tyler only has 2 tattoos, and none of them are on his legs.
Yeah, exactly. And where Tyler was during this entire thing has already been verified by law enforcement, y'all.
Oh, exactly. They know exactly where Tyler.
They know everywhere Tyler was and everything Tyler was doing.
Yep.
So if you have a question, please ask it respectfully, but don't come in and say Brandy has said something when we have an entire playlist. That is crazy. And I know there's a lot that goes on the internet.
Will you stop doing that? It's the cat, y'all. I swear, she's fine. Okay? She's just crazy. She's just old and she's senile. She just does that. And sometimes she sounds like a chicken. So we just squawk at her because
I did kind of wonder if you had a chicken.
Yeah, no, she does. So we do it. It's kind of a game. It's probably really not. It's not funny, but she's so old, and she's just. We're taking care of her, I promise. But she just randomly, just all of a sudden, fights the air for no reason, and so we back at her.
How long has she been doing this? How long has she been fighting for?
About 6 months. A little over 6 months, yeah. No, whoa, Jesus, no. A year. Yeah, it's been a year.
Bless her. Sometimes animals can see things we can't see.
That's exactly where I was going with that, Brooks. Thank you, because in my mind, as Brandy, you were talking, I was going to ask, when did it start in relation to some of the things Buggy has shared with us?
Buggy was a year before. So,
okay.
Yeah. Buggy was a year before, and Isabel's gone nuts over the past year.
Okay.
That's okay. I love her crazy butt. It's okay. And I just sometimes squawk at her like a chicken, or then I tell her not to do that because it upsets her.
Well, here's a crazy story. The year 2000, my mom had renal cell carcinoma. You and I have had many conversations about that, considering, your dad's battling cancer now. Mm-hmm. Brandy had to spend a few weeks out of town taking care of her dad. I mean, how many staples and stitches does he have from his surgery?
He had over 100 external staples and 200 internal dissolvable sutures.
Well, the early morning of June 10th, I was staying at my dad's house. We had a Manx cat named Max. Now, I shouldn't even say Manx cat because someone's going to come in and say it wasn't a real Manx, but that's okay. Whatever the cat was, I heard. I was like, what the hell is wrong with the cat? What the hell is wrong with this cat? Next thing you know, my soon-to-be brother-in-law is knocking on the door and he said, you need to come check on your mom. And I went into the living room to see that she had passed away.
Oh, honey.
So then I went and got my dad up. The cat was still going crazy. And Dad sat down and he goes, he can see things we can't. I see you, my girl, said Brandy and Tyler have been cleared. People who do not stick to the facts given by law enforcement have no place in true crime. Choose a different. I love that. Choose a different interest. And there's tons of it out there. There's tons of those drama
Thank you.
channels.
I see you.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Oh, okay. So everybody, thank you for the prayers for my dad. I really, really appreciate it. He's on the mend. He got all the staples out. He's sutured up quite well. He's now got a permanent frowny face from, I guess you could say, nip to nip. But he's on the mend. Cancer free as of now. So, he's doing pretty good. And hopefully he'll finally retire here very, very soon and move back west.
What is it with these men that refuse to retire even when they know that you wouldn't have to tell me twice it's time to retire? I'd be like, really? Hey, you gonna get me a cake? Woo! But they just don't want to. Okay, we're gonna backtrack a little bit and we're gonna go through Stacy saying, I'm here to clear my name. Now you're gonna pick up on a lot of things that he's clearly, crystal clear, lying about.
I'm here to clear my name.
The people Fruitland Police is now calling a suspect in the abduction of Michael Monkey Vaughn spoke to New 7 Investigates Morgan Romero.
Okay, right off the bat, Fruitland says is a suspect in the abduction of Michael Monkey Vaughn.
Could you repeat that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
A suspect in the abduction of Michael Monkey Vaughn. They didn't say Brandy. They didn't say Tyler. They didn't say the older kids. They didn't say Bob. They didn't say Lana. They didn't say the babysitter. They didn't say Buggy. They didn't say anyone. They said Stacy is considered a suspect in the abduction of Michael Monkey Vaughn. Now, it took Brandy a long time to get people's attention to her abducted son. Kat brought me the case, okay? And she's telling me all about it. I said, listen, let me read through all of these things. What kept sticking out to me from J.D. Huff was abduction, 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 abduction. It got to a point when I would tell Brandy, I am not going to put in the title that you're going to be up here because you have all these crazy people that come in asking questions that are not relevant to the disappearance of Michael Vaughn. We leave that to law enforcement. They can't be more clear. They can't be more clear. Why can't some people get over it and understand? Now, we know there's not a lot of drama that surrounds this case because you and Tyler are not those type of people. We know in the case of Sebastian, people can't get enough of it because of, well, things that go on with the case. They eat it up. We know in the case of Summer Wells, they eat it up because of what her parents do. So, I mean, maybe we need to step this up, Brandy. Maybe you and Tyler need to get in a fight in the front yard or something. I don't know.
Oh, that'd get everybody talking, wouldn't it? That's a definite for sure. Maybe if we were, I don't know, a little more, I don't know how much more vocal I can be.
Why don't
and
we,
Tyler,
why
he
don't we
talks when he's needed.
Why don't we make up a fake fight between you and Lana? I could be like, breaking news. Lana called Brandy a bitch.
God.
What's
No, that's what people are trying for, and they've, I don't mean to nitpick and break it apart, but there has been that stuff that's happened. It hasn't been.
That's true,
fake
and it
fight
has
between me
happened.
and Brandy, but there has been. People have come and attacked individuals in the Vaughn's support system with that kind of shit,
Yes.
both
They did.
online and in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, in real life, that yeah, and honestly, to those individuals, you can get banned because you took away the support system that I had so they could protect their loved ones and families, because they were being attacked because they were trying to be helpful to our family and Michael. So you all can go just sit on one, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, get bent, because your
Yeah.
support system here isn't going anywhere. We're not going to stop.
Yes.
We're not going to
I
stop
know.
supporting you. We're not going to stop moving forward. I know Lana damn sure won't.
I won't. However, Brandy knows this personally, because this has been an ongoing conversation between her and I privately. There's been moments where I've stepped back in a massive way because of how I've been attacked and what's happened to my personal life. So, and it kills me because I sit and think about sometimes the work that we could be doing for Michael and for other children, and things that we've wanted to do, like a foundation, just different things that, I have stepped back and stopped because of what's happened, because it's so horrible. And I do have to take that break and protect myself. And Brandy's the first one to say that. She's the first one to say, you go take care of your mental health,
Absolutely.
But I've had to do it too. And then I come back around when I feel able, or when Brandy calls and says, hey, I need you. Then I'm like, all right, I'm there.
Of course.
But
and there's nothing wrong with taking a break, saying, I need a few days to not think or listen to horrible things. That's why I say on this show all the time, listen, we don't need drama. We don't need to create drama. Now, we can laugh at some stuff that you have to admit is pretty damn crazy. I mean, I shouldn't have made the fat bastard thing about Stacy, but I'd had it with him. Okay?
I'm not going to say anything about that, but other than hee. Sorry.
Yeah. Hee. Pat Hay said, we can't let the mean people win. No. What could be more dramatic than what we're talking about right now? I'll start with Lana. What could be more dramatic than the abduction of Michael Vaughn?
Wow. I don't know. I would have to dig into the very lengthy list of very raw true crime documentaries maybe that I've seen, because I personally have not witnessed anything like this in my life. I've never been involved or known a family who's lost a child like this. And the shit that I've witnessed all the way around in every single category, watching this little boy become a statistic in so many different ways, such as the Amber Alert situation and, so on. It's it's exhausting, it's draining, and to be the family in the middle of that, the exhaustion and drainage that goes on for them. God, it's so heavy. And that's the word that really, when Ben and I were talking in the car, like, we were live streaming and he was holding the thing and he started to talk about his feelings, and I was just like, whoa, like, because Ben's really quiet and doesn't really engage much with me or people. He just sticks to his little circle. And I was like, hey, FYI, like, remember you're live streaming. And he's like, oh yeah, they can hear me. And he's like, well, they can't see my face though. And I'm like, well, no, but still, like, just a reminder, you're a kid. I want you to talk and be open, but just say what And he's like, yeah, well, and he did. He started to just share about how he texted his friends about today being 3 years and what his friends were saying to him and supporting him. And it was just, God, it just makes my chin quiver.
And that was the first event that Bubba has attended for Monkey. Like he because he doesn't want to be around people. He doesn't want. He's suffered so much.
He suffered so much, and I could feel it when he was talking and sitting next to me. And I just reached over and just, put my hand on his back, and I didn't say anything. I was just proud of him, and I told him that later. I was proud of him for being there. It happened. So, Brandy and I were leaving, we were saying goodbye, and he was just laying there, and I was just like, do you want to come with us? And he just, without hesitation, goes, sure. And Brandy was like, really? Okay,
What?
yeah, come. Like, come. We're going now, though. Like, right now.
Yeah, like that now. Put your socks and shoes on. Let's go.
And he hopped up, and then he was like, well, wait, where am I going to ride? And who's going to see me? And we answered a few questions for him. And then he was like, okay, he felt comfortable because the car I was in was like limo tint. So he just sat in there, and, but it was great. But yeah, nobody suffered more, I think, than those children and their parents.
Now, it goes without saying, I don't need to ask Brandy what could be more dramatic than the hell she's incurred for the last 3 years. Easy. But you mentioned the Amber Alert, Lana. Brandy and Tyler,
Yes.
all the way to the governor.
Yes, who posted about it, who also posted about it on his social on Saturday. In remembrance.
Yes, I forgot to repost that. Lana, my brain was elsewhere.
I saw the governor recently, and had about, he's like, I'm gonna steal your paper, Lana, and I was like, all right, you can take my paper, but I'm gonna steal your ear for about 30 seconds and walk you to your car. And he was like, all right, what's up? And I did just that, walked in the car. I was like, hey, in about 2 weeks we're hitting this anniversary, and I'm kind of bummed because what I'd asked was that they were going to give us some statistics on Monkey's Alert and how many, successful alerts we've had. So I will circle back with his press secretary on that today. But he was like, absolutely. Like, I haven't forgotten about them. And in fact, wasn't it like 3 months ago I saw him, Brandy, and he asked about you guys and I texted you?
Yes. Yeah, it was, it's about 3 months now.
Yeah.
Now, why would, we already know Brandy and Tyler have nothing to do with their son's abduction. But why would you take a step all the way to the governor, senators, everything they've done to change the alert system if you had anything to do with your child's disappearance?
Come here.
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't. Brandy and Tyler are so committed to ensure, they know that you can't like essentially like stop people from plotting and kidnapping children. That we can do our best as a community, but they are so committed to make sure that there are better resources, better processes, that parents are more informed about what to do if something like this, if lightning were to strike your home, what to do. And it's because of that, because they don't want anybody else to ever have to suffer. And if anybody else's child is ever taken, they want those parents to have every available resource to get their child back as quick as possible.
100%. 100%. Now let's listen to this again. Listen to the very first part of it. Suspect in the abduction of Michael Vaughn.
The people of Fruitland Police is now calling a suspect in the abduction of Michael Monkey Vaughn, spoke to 7 Investigates Morgan Romero. Fruitland's police chief told us for the first time, Stacy Wandra is a suspect in the little boy's disappearance. His wife, Sarah, was previously charged with failure to report Michael's death. But that charge was dropped several months later, though she remains a suspect. Now, along with the Wandras, police labeled 2 men who lived with them, Adrian Lucien and Brandon Shirtliff, suspects who absolutely know what happened to Michael. 5 years old at the time, Michael disappeared from his Fruitland home on Southwest 9th Street on July 27, 2021. In November of 2022, we were there as crews searched and excavated the property where those 4 suspects lived, just 2-minute drive from the Vaughn's home. Police said they had credible information from someone living in the Wandra's house that Michael's body was there. Human remains, dogs alerted, but ultimately Michael wasn't found. Police believe Michael was buried in the yard and then moved. Fruitland Police.
And they know what they're talking about. Let's also correlate this with Stacy was prepared to take a conditional plea agreement, but later was told he dug up everything. But then he changes his story and said, because they interrogated me too hard. So I had to tell him something.
Lion slob.
Right. So he FaceTimed law enforcement while they were digging his backyard with his attorney, because he had been interrogated too long. So he wanted to be sure to be on FaceTime and tell them exactly where Michael was buried because he had been interrogated so long.
Nope.
Make it make sense.
And we know of 2 places that cadaver dogs and forensics know Michael was at. One is Brandon's mama's house. The other is the house in Fruitland.
Explain how in the hell my 5-year-old beautiful little son got to Kuna, Idaho, in his flip-flops that he had only been wearing for 3 days.
Right.
Explain
yeah,
that
I'm
to
sure
me.
he ran. He
Yeah.
probably had a friend over there he wanted to visit.
Okay.
Sure. Because you can see right here what smartass Tina said. Shirtless mother Tina told KTVB in a message that police came knocking at her door and their cadaver dog alluded to something on her property. She said the dog smelled poop outside near her crawl space. Now, Brandon has spoken a few times about crawl spaces. According to Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, cadaver dogs do not alert on human feces and are not trained to find it. No. GB
Exactly. And I have a friend in Utah who is a licensed private investigator and actually makes appearances on Court TV and Nancy Grace and other, true crime type things as an expert, like a legitimate expert, one that actually works in the field, not like, Coffin Daffer. Anyway, so he has actual dog. His dog is top notch, specialty trained cadaver dog, and I asked him about that as well because people are like, oh my god, of course the dog's gonna notice poop, and he was like, well, yes, of course, if there's a linky toilet and there's feces in that crawl space, and that's a fact, my dog's gonna notice it, she's gonna smell it, she's not gonna enjoy it whatsoever,
no,
but she's not going to alert on that feces. Those dogs didn't alert on a leaky toilet. They alerted on the scent of human remains.
Yes, they did outside of the crawl space, but she thought she was real cute saying leaky toilet. GB had a question. She wants to know what she can do to support Brandy. I can't speak for Brandy. She's going to say, well, go ahead, Brandy, speak for yourself. I will say this, that on this channel, any super chat you put in during Michael's show will go to Brandy when I get it. And I'm sure Brandy can verify that.
I absolutely can verify that, and thank you.
Brooks,
to
you're
everyone
amazing
that
for
has
always
done that.
all your support. Big hugs.
Right now, I am working on new flyers. I'm going to get with the Kyron Harmon Foundation. I'm going to get with Kane. And Isabel, quit doing that.
And none of this is free. So don't be shy to put in a super chat because Brandy will tell you it is going to go to her.
Yes, it does. It does come to me. And it's been used to help while I've been out of work, holidays, everybody's donations that have said that have come to go to us, Brooks has sent to us. So thank you, everyone.
Oh my
And
gosh, look at that.
Pat, no. Pat, sit down. Stop it. No.
That's the problem.
Sit down.
That's the problem. When you try to help her, say no, no, no.
So,
You just
okay.
sit down. I love that.
There was, as well as the motorcycle run, there was a pool tournament being held Saturday night, and 50% of the proceeds were going to the Women and Children's Shelter for DV rescues and rescues.
Which is a great program in the area. Great program.
Yes. Yeah. I have 4 bags of clothes that I'm taking over to them hopefully today because it's a registration day for school. Yeah. Oh God. Oh God.
I
I'm
do
gonna
know
cry.
one thing that Brandy needs.
What?
I can answer that question. This came from the conversation on the weekend. She needs protein shakes and protein bars. And she would love them to come by the case and flat.
No, I'm fine. I'm taking care of me. Y'all worry so much.
Thank
No
you,
worries.
Diana, for the $50. Thank you, Maria, for the 10. I feel like Jerry Lewis on a telethon. Thank you, Rusty, for the $5. He said, match me. Thank you, Retro Girl.
Keep calling people. Just keep calling that line.
Look at this. Kiki, thank you for the $100. Pat is going to do the accounting. Now, that's going to get you a lot of flyers, Brandy.
Yes. So that's what I was, sorry. Squirrel. The pool tournament, 50% of the proceeds are gonna go to the Women and Children's Shelter, and then will you stop doing that, weirdo? And she's just old, guys, I promise.
Now, Brandy, you don't want.
Well, and they announced to us at the end of this run this weekend that these biker groups decided to come together, and they are going to start making this an annual run.
Yes.
In Michael's name and fundraiser. So they're going to start, instead of it being like, just like the community did for this, it's going to be a little more planned, and those groups are going to pull their groups together in full, and it's going to be amazing. So, it's going to give them a lot of support, give more organization support, and the family is going to be able to use that money for awareness, for a foundation, for whatever they decide to do at that time. It's really great.
And that's what I told the woman that was doing the hosting the pool tournament, what the funds would be directly used for. Will be the new age progression photo of Michael and the one with him in his blue and gray tank top, and
Okay, we
I'm
have
gonna post the world again.
we have 25 from Jen 405. Hey, are you from the 405? Are you from Oklahoma City? Thank you, Jen 405. Still Waters Match Rusty, $5. Just Cat sent you some Great British Pounds, $19.99. Look at that.
Love you, Kat.
Love you, Cat. Now I know
I love Kat.
within a
Right
few
from across the
hours,
sea.
within a few hours, I'm going to be asked for, did you send that to Brandy? Did you send that, Brandy? We need receipts. We need receipts.
Oh God.
Yep.
Even
I'll
no,
go-
you know what? I can
we're just,
honestly
like she said,
promise
those people can
that.
get bent.
Yeah, exactly.
We're sick of
Because
that. We don't give a shit.
here's your receipt. Brooks sends it to me, directly to me. Anything that's donated to our family is sent, and then some actually. So,
And
and
let me
many other things.
story. And let me tell you a story. Brandy, please plug your ears. It took me forever to get this Cash App. She
Yep.
wouldn't give it to me. I said, I have been saving this money for quite some time because I'm not going to make any money off your son. Now, what $1.12 YouTube wants to send me, that's up to them. But what you all send is not considered a donation to the channel. It's a donation to the family. That's how I take it. That's how my husband takes it. But I can tell you this wholeheartedly. My fake Bombay doesn't take it that way because he thinks everything's for him. Kamari, thank you for the $20.
You know, Brandy is so incredibly humble. I can say matter of factly that first, when we put up that Amazon Christmas link for the kids and the family that first time after the searches were going on, I had been trying to get her because people were asking all the time, like, can we do this? Will you set it up? What do they need? And she was just like, nothing. We don't need anything. We're fine. And I know that's not true because you're going through the worst possible tragedy you could possibly go through. And I can see, myself just being over there where the need was. And when the search started and they had to stop work and stay home and were basically, put on freaking, you're staying here. You're in your house. You're on house arrest as the victim, family of the victim. You're on house arrest. You cannot leave. They couldn't work. They couldn't do anything. And I just went to Amazon and made a list. I put her address in. I put it out there and I was like, I love you. I know you need this. And they did. And the community answered the call because it's so hard for her to ask for anything. That's how humble she is.
Her
I
son
got this.
abducted. Bonafide, thank you for the $20. Carrie Bishop, thank you for the $5. Remember, it doesn't have to be a 5, a 10, a 20. Doesn't have to be a 50. I mean, it can be $1 because
Oh, goodness gracious.
It adds up, and it's and part of the reason I think that the flyers and things like that have stopped is not just the emotional strength it takes for the family to continue that work, but it is the financial side of it. And there has been this fear on all of us of doing anything to fundraise or set anything up or even start to do monkey's mail again or any of that, because there will be online consequences. There will be things said about it, and we've all dealt with that, as we were just talking about, had to step away because of people's opinions. And I'm just tired of it. The family needs help. We need to continue to talk about Michael. These flyers cost money. The bracelets cost money. The postage costs money. The family's always paid the postage out of their own pocket.
right?
So if anyone wants to help, like, what is wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with it.
No, not at all. And that's what the true crime community is here for. That's what we should be here for, right? Now, don't think I'm raising money for freaking Dawn and Candace or Adam and Kayla Montgomery or any parent that is responsible for the abuse and disappearance of their child. You're not going to see me raising money for Sebastian's family. Not going to happen. So miss me with that shit. But everyone knows that this is my Achilles heel. It truly is. Let me tell you how bad I am, though. I had a ton of flyers printed out for Michael. Even bought new ink. Well, I had to call a few people. I put some stuff in Discord. I'm like, I forgot the flyers for CrimeCon. Thankfully, someone came through and we had plenty to hand out. I mean, you saw that firsthand, Brandy. I don't know if Lana
Yes.
She told me about this. I'm over here laughing. I mean, I'm sorry, Brooks. I want to give you a big hug. I'm sure that probably just broke your heart that you forgot them. You're probably beating yourself up. But that's something I would do. That's why I'm
right on top of my printer right now. They're sitting right on top of my printer right now. And let me tell you what, it took me a lot of Bloody Marys and some Coors Lights to get through those 2 days. So, thank God. Thank God. Marisay, thank you for the $20. Now, let's get back to this because I want you all to really dissect what Stacy is saying.
Sent probable cause to the Payette County prosecutor last summer to be presented to a grand jury. Police Chief J.D. Huff says a grand jury hasn't convened yet, but they will soon. Although that case centers around the Wandras and their roommates, Stacy tells us he knows nothing about Michael's abduction.
Liar.
Stacy Wandra, Stacey.
It's been 2 months since Stacy Wandra was released from federal custody, convicted of a gun crime, unrelated to the disappearance of little Michael Vaughn.
And what have you been doing since?
I've been trying to live my life the best way I can.
Stacy agreed to...
Okay, real quick, fun fact. I talked to Stacy when he was in the hospital that morning. He told me that Morgan Romero, the station she works for, was getting him an Uber and getting him lunch, and they were going to sit and talk to the human pig. He also went as far as to say she was flirting with him and didn't know what to do. Now, please look at the screen and look at Morgan Romero and look.
Who's married also, by the way.
Well, that doesn't matter to Stacy. Everybody wants him. I mean, you know, you have people like Daisy and Lisa K. Ruitt saying I was flirting with him. You know, you're never going to talk to a criminal in a case that isn't surrounded by pieces of shit. Never going to happen. You're never going to find a salt of the earth person that surrounds these people. But look at Morgan Romero, who is married and has a great job. And then you look over her shoulder, that is Stacy, who was a suspect in an abduction. Maria O'Sullivan said, well, he's a stud. You better believe it. Better believe it in his own mind.
Interview with me to, quote, clear his name.
I have no reason to hide anything from anybody. I'm not that type of person. I'm an open book. You can ask me anything, and I will tell you an honest answer to it.
Were you involved in the disappearance of Michael Vaughn?
No.
Why do police think you were?
I have no idea.
Stacy thinks law enforcement's case may hinge on Adrian Lucien, one of the men living with Stacy and his wife at the time Michael disappeared. One of the men police are calling a suspect.
Any clues or evidence that could point to that from your knowledge?
No.
Okay.
I would never have thought Sarah, or Brendan, or Adrian would. Maybe Adrian, but I wouldn't have thought Sarah or Brendan would have ever done something like this. I was not even home at the night of the disappearance. I know that at that nighttime, Sarah, Brendan, and I had left to Cuna to go recover his tow's vehicle.
Elaborate on that day a little bit more. You said you were working?
Yeah, so I did a taxi ride from Ontario to Boise. I know that I was gone a good portion of the day from like...
The taxi ride to Boise never happened. They were trolling all day for a child to abduct.
They are on camera. This will come out in trial, I'm sure. 100%, but they are, you know, when Chief Huff says we are certain we know what happened that day, it's because they have that information. They know where these individuals were. They have what vehicles they were in. They have them coming in and out of the community, into the subdivision. Like, they know all this. So this is all bullshit. This is, I still don't know why Stacey was doing this crap, but it's all lies.
All lies. But I will say that when he was on the show all those days, he put some hard truths out. Things I don't think he meant to say.
Agreed.
There was a lot of stuff he let slip. When I contacted other creators to see if they would talk to him, and a couple of them really felt flat. But I will say that Lauren Mathias and her husband did amazing. Justin did amazing. Dolly did great. They all did great. Now, some others, I couldn't figure out where they were going.
Yes.
I think that's all I watched.
I really couldn't. I mean, there was one chick talking to him, and all she was doing was reading the chat, and it just wasn't adding up. Nothing came out. But I mean, we all have to learn, right?
1 p.m. in the afternoon to like about 4. Spent some time
be
with
listening.
a
I gotta run the dog.
coworker or boss that I used to work for. I think I spent maybe an hour and a half, and then had come back home. And the neighborhood was completely solitude. It was quiet.
Stacey claims he, Brandon, and Sarah left their house and headed to Cuna to tow Brandon's car around 5:30 to 6 p.m. on July 27th, 2021. Brandon blew a spark plug and couldn't drive it, he says. Fruitland police believe Monkey went missing between 6:40 and 7 p.m. that night.
When we got back, I think about between 9 and 10.
20 minutes. 20 minutes. No way could Tyler be tending after Buggy, been in the house, ordering pizza, and do what people continue to accuse him of. And I can tell you something right now. If Brandy had any inkling that anyone in that house hurt Monkey, well, she wouldn't be around them.
Well, and here's another thing people forget to leave out is there was another person in the house who was old enough to call for help, and Bubba very much would have done something. He very much would have heard Tyler. If this was happening, he would have very much, he was old enough, whereas Buggy was a baby and would have been asleep and all that. If you want to keep going with that theory, where do you leave Bubba in that theory? Because he would have done something.
And let's just go ahead. Brandy's muted right now. She's not listening right now. She's doing something else. Let's discuss this. In 20 minutes, how do you, I'm going to say, for YouTube standards, decease a person, clean up, and bury them, yet you never left the neighborhood?
Right. And they've, CCTV has him, frantically running around. Neighbors have told me personally that they are traumatized by the sound and image of Tyler seared into their brains looking for his son that evening. Like, they remember that fear that welled up in themselves when they watched this frantic father running around screaming for his child.
And by the way, that is hard enough to even comprehend. Then you have the neighbors that have not come out, and they're not going to.
No. But
the guilt they live with. Okay, I mean, I'm looking out my bedroom window right now, or I call it my studio because I'm really fancy, Lana. I see kids out there right now riding bicycles.
Yeah.
If something happened to one of them, the guilt they go through.
Oh, I see children. I have a walkway through our subdivision, right across the little, canal thing and the kids walk by, it's one of the ways they take to go to their bus station. You know, and I think about that as well while I'm sitting in my studio looking out the window too. And I am like, I watch my neighborhood kids more so, I think, than I did before. And I am more aware of trafficking in the Boise area than I ever was before. And I think, you know, circling back just how the community was affected. There was a young man, I mean, he couldn't have been 25, and he came to drove from Boise to Fruitland to one of the Christmas vigils. And when people kind of took a moment to step up and speak to the family, he spoke to that. He's like, I'm not a parent. I don't have children. I drove over here from Boise tonight because this has really affected me. And he's like, I watch the kids in my neighborhood just a few seconds longer. He takes pause now as a 25-year-old man to what's going on around him, to the kids in his community, because he never wants to be that person who doesn't see it or doesn't, you know, catch something like that, you know, because and we all have to be a little more aware, you know, when we are around. We have to watch those babies, because that's what it takes a village, right? It takes all of us.
Oh, it damn sure does. It damn sure does. But I'm not going to chase kids down the street that are riding their bicycle and say, "Hey, I'm not going to do it. I'm not." But, you know, be aware of your surroundings.
Yes.
Britt said Craigslist. I hope they looked into it. Craigslist is a different critter. Now, we heard from Stacy himself, and he said they found most of their taxi rides on Craigslist.
Mm-hmm.
You all remember the Craigslist killer in Massachusetts, I believe. That was really hard for them to find all the different ads because of the way Craigslist is set up.
Well, and also the Don't F with Cats documentary, that guy was using Craigslist as well.
That's different. I mean, now I don't work in that department. I don't, no, not at all. My studio doesn't do that.
Craigslist is just shady AF. My studio don't do that.
I mean, even if I see on there they're having a garage sale somewhere, and I love me some thrift. I love me some garage sales, but I'm like,
oh, same. I'm a massive thrift addict. I love it. Love it too. One of my favorite things I'm traveling is to go check out, you know, consignment stores and thrift stores in like the city that I'm visiting, just to see what other people are throwing away.
Oh no, it's crazy.
It's great.
List, when they send a warrant, sometimes it takes them a good year to get it back. Why? I don't know. Not my department.
o'clock at night, we noticed there was an excessive amount of people out in the community walking around the neighborhood. We had stopped and asked what was going on, and they said that a boy had been abducted or been taken, and it was news to me. It was news to Sarah, what it seemed like, and Brandon. We got home. Brandon and Sarah decided they were going to go look for the boy, and I was in the process of getting the vehicle detached from the.
Go look for the boy.
That's when they were going to get milk. Remember?
Well, and I have a lot of questions about that. I always assumed that the milk was on their way out of Kuna. I believe it was on their way back in to Fruitland. And I don't believe any officer told him someone has been abducted. No. That's another Freudian slip, because he knows. If I come into my neighborhood and I see a bunch of flashing lights and everything, of course I'm going to ask what's going on. Of course I'm going to ask what's going on. And if they say, yes, there's a child missing and we're trying to find the child, I'm not going to come in here and turn on the live stream and say someone abducted. No. They don't use verbiage like that until the investigation goes forward. Now, it was not long after July 27th that the wheels were in motion and they had an FBI agent stationed in Fruitland saying we're dealing with an
Correct.
abduction. But
Correct.
listen to him again. He says right here, abducted or taken. Now listen, children get lost. Children explore. That would have been the most likely scenario on July 27th, 2021. But he jumps the gun right here. And I know some people, not putting any names out, say it's innocent enough he got his words twisted. Bull hockey.
An excessive amount of people out in the community walking around the neighborhood. We had stopped and asked what was going on, and they said that a boy had been abducted or been taken, and it was news to me, and it was news to Sarah, what it seemed like, and Brandon. We got home, Brandon and Sarah decided they were going to go look for the boy, and I was in the process of getting the vehicle detached from the truck because it was taking up the whole length of the street pretty much.
Stacy later clarified to me he wasn't initially told Michael was abducted, just that he was missing. And where was Adrian that day?
Adrian.
Why did he have to clarify? Why did he say it in the first place?
Because it was a Freudian slip. Because he knows he was abducted.
Absolutely. Just like his Freudian slip, where he's at Southwest in Arizona, where that's exactly where the dog stopped. And he said he stopped right there to put power steering fluid in the car and saw the child. He
The
said
child, yeah, big
child.
slip. Oh, wait, what child? The little boy. Oh, wait,
The girl, the boy, then
kid.
then how many different races and ages did that child change in his conversations?
Yep.
And what toy did he have in his hand? I mean,
originally where he placed the child would have been.
There's no way. There is absolutely no way. I walked out there. I personally walked out there. I videoed it. I have sent it to Brooks as well. I have sent. Yep. We've gone out there. Like there's no. There absolutely not. You are a liar.
You're lying. It's so.
I have really good eyesight. I really have really good eyesight, and looking from that spot where you allegedly pulled off to put power steering fluid in, and Michael's scent was lost.
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
So maybe that child was the one who had just knocked on a house in that area and was heading back home, and maybe somebody like Brandon called out to said child. Hypothetically speaking here,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, he says that says that the child was far away, like down the road.
No, that's not what happened at all. No, that is not what happened at all. Thank you, Angie Baby, for the super sticker. Thank you, my friend. No, he's playing with a toy. He said, minding his own business in someone else's yard. Now, when I asked him off of the show, I'm like, had you ever seen this child before? And he was like, no, never. Well, then how do you know it's someone else's yard?
Yep, exactly. Those words have stuck with me.
How did you know it was someone else's yard, Stacy? You knew where Michael Vaughn lived. The first time I talked to Brandy, she said, I have felt like there's eyes on us before Michael went missing.
Hi. Good morning. You stop it. Hi.
No, someone.
Yeah, good morning.
And Brandon and Sarah all took a trip to Boise in the morning before I did my taxi ride. It was Adrian wanted to go see his kid.
He claims Adrian stayed in either Boise or Nampa all night.
Is that what they told you, or do you know that to be true for a fact?
I mean, That's just what I'm going based off of. I mean, I was told the same thing that's, all over, and I wasn't with them.
Human cadaver dogs are highly reliable. Why did police tell you that human cadaver dogs pinged on your property at that home?
They didn't really give an explanation. They just said that the dogs had hit around the property. But, I mean, there's nothing, I don't even know how that's even feasible because
That's not what they said. That is not what they said at all. Go ahead, Brandy, because that is not what they said. They actually probed and droned Carson's yard because Sarah kept trying to say Michael was in his backyard.
Correct. They used ground penetrating radar in both yards. The only yard that they found anomalies in was the Wanderer's backyard, as far as my knowledge. Good job. Thank you, sweetheart. Yes. And there was nothing in the Starkeys' backyard. There were no anomalies. There were no scents. There was nothing, no evidence of Michael in their backyard. And yes, I do know that they are RSOs, but they have fully cooperated. And as far as I know, there was absolutely no evidence of Michael being in their yard, but definitely in the Wanderers.
Yep.
Excuse me, Buggy's awake, so I gotta get her breakfast real quick.
Okay, baby.
like I said, I've never even heard of this kid. I've never seen this kid. Never knew anything about him.
Police said that they believe Michael's body was buried there and then moved. Can you think of any time that his body would have been buried there and then moved? Does anything stand out to you?
Not at all. They were saying that he was buried by the shed. Makes absolutely no sense. There's been no dig marks. There's no trench marks. There's nothing. The ground was a complete grassed area.
Could it have happened when you weren't around and it was potentially covered up?
It could have, very possibly. I just know that I wasn't around for any of it. I have no idea. I would like to know what happened to him.
They did say that they recovered several pieces of evidence at your home and on your property. Do you know what those pieces of evidence were?
Well, it's news to me.
The day after our interview,
He was playing with something.
Stacy gave a YouTuber a new piece of information.
I'm sorry, I'm trying
And that YouTuber is me.
to recollect as best as I can for you.
He, Brandon, and Sarah pulled over to put power steering fluid in his car right after they left for Kuna the day Michael was abducted. He says they saw a child playing by himself on the sidewalk down the street around the corner from the Vaughn's home.
The kid that I saw did not depict Michael. I mean, he wasn't like a little kid, you know what I mean? Like he was, that's why I said it didn't concern me at all that he was out and about doing his thing.
Stacy says he doesn't know what's in the probable cause affidavit police sent to prosecutors. The one police say centers around him, Sarah, Adrian, and Brandon.
Do you think police have anything on you or your wife?
I personally know for a fact they don't have anything against me or on me. I have no knowledge. I wasn't even home. I have no knowledge of who this little boy is, his whereabouts, or anything about him.
In his interview with the YouTuber, Stacy said his attorney told him he's no longer a person of interest in Michael's abduction. Chief Huff tells me that's not true. When I called Stacy's attorney to get a straight answer, his attorney told me, quote, "I have no comment at this time," and hung up. I also reached out to Michael's mom, Brandy Neal, to let her know about this interview airing. She was appreciative and said the most important thing in the world is to get Michael home.
Yep.
Ugh. God, he's just, makes my skin crawl.
It's gut-wrenching. And nobody, I don't care how ignorant you are, is going to take a conditional plea agreement.
Yep.
For anything you have nothing to do with, because they
You're
have
interrogated too much.
Yeah, they have to have evidence. Because he was interrogated in May, then in November. He knew it was getting there. So let's get back to the 3 year.
Yes.
This is the news at 10.
Today marks 3 years since Michael Vaughn went missing in Fruitland. He was 5 years old at the time of his disappearance. The community has not forgotten about the little boy they affectionately call Monkey. Today, a ride took place in support of Michael and his family. Our reporter, Jude Binkley, spoke with Michael's mother on this anniversary of his disappearance. Jude, I can hardly imagine what today is like for her.
Oh, Andrea, 3 years have gone by, but the heartbreak of Michael's disappearance is still felt throughout Fruitland. His family has faith that one day they'll bring Michael home. 1,096 days since Michael Vaughn went missing. 623 days since crews searched the house for his remains.
You can't take one of our most precious citizens from us and ever expect us to stop.
365 days since the case was submitted to prosecutors. Every day,
we're going to bring him home.
A search for closure for Michael's mom, Brandy.
This community has surrounded our family and Michael, and they haven't forgotten about him. Today's 3 years since he was abducted.
Wow. And who is this wonderful woman with you, Brandy? Lana knows. Brandy's making breakfast.
Who is the woman with her? That is Brooke, who started the Michael Vaughn community Facebook group initially. And she's been, her and her husband are business owners in the area, and they didn't know the family before. They've just been, jumped on board and been a huge support. She helped organize the first ride. She's helped organize a couple of different events over the past few years to support the family in the area. She was a huge force behind, getting emails for the monkey law that happened. She's just an amazing woman. She's a force.
Brooke Amber and Brandon Jeeper, her husband, they are absolutely incredible people. They are pillars of this community, and
and her kids too. It's sweet to watch her children.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Amazing.
They they're all such. They have such a wonderful family dynamic.
I love them.
And I was invited to church and to
family dinner.
Sunday
oh my
dinner.
Gosh, her boys were like getting on Brandy because she hasn't come. It was so cute because I don't know, her boys are like what, 10, 9?
I'm not young. Sure how old. Yeah, they're about that age. Yeah,
and they're like, and one of them's like hands on his hips, like, you haven't come to family dinner, and we've been. Oh, it was great. It was great. And so,
Brooke has been inviting me, but with me and Tyler's work schedules, I was always working Sundays, and then but I told them, I couldn't. I got pouty faces, so I couldn't say no. So it's every other Sunday, and so we will be at the next family dinner. It's hard to be around people in public, and because I never know what to say, and people never know what to say, and then I feel bad because I know they feel bad because they don't know what to say. So does that make sense? I'm in mute. Sorry.
Because we understand anger. We understand sympathy. There's a lot of emotions we understand. A lot of times we don't know how to communicate those. I get myself in trouble for it quite often. My sarcasm, my jokes, or what I try. It's hard to communicate feelings.
Yes.
And
exactly.
hurt anyone's feelings. They just really don't. Well, I mean, some people.
And people, if you know me, I'm not usually with that words, but there's several times where Brandy and I've had conversations, or she calls me, and I literally just say to her, I don't have words for this, but I'm here for you. I'm here. I'll listen to you cry. I'll listen to what you have to say. I, showed up to visit one time. I'm like, what do you need? And she's like, I need a shower. I'm like, all right, go take your shower. I got buggy. Like, sometimes you just, there aren't words.
I just went in the shower and cried.
Yeah, it's just, what do you need? I just need a shower. All right, we'll take a freaking shower. It's hard to put words to something like this on all sides of it, And I think just because Brandy can recognize that in other people and what they might be viewing or feeling when they see her, meet her, or think of her family is really just another expression of the kind of person that she is.
What do they call it? Grace Under Fire? And I don't mean the TV show from the 90s. I mean, that's what it's called. Grace Under Fire.
Brandy has never wavered from what's best for Michael. Never. Nope. Not once, ever.
And the truth is, Lana, neither have you.
No, I think there's been some moments, and I mean, I'm not going to dig into that because it's been my own personal growth and development, but there has been some conversations with Brandy where, I've said something or done something and in the moment and not realized, what those words might have done to affect another victim or their family. And we have that conversation and we talk about how to grow and be better people. And my intent was 1000% there, always. My intent has always been there. But I think as a human being and my mouth being as big as it is, I've, I can admit I've said things that may have not always been, in the best intention of Michael, or come out that way. They were meant to be. And that's just learning. Because again, like going back to what I said before, I've never, ever, ever known a family that's had a child taken. I've never volunteered for anything like this before. And I've never, ever. So it's been a learning process for me, and one that, I don't have any hesitancies in sharing, because I think people can learn from what I've learned. They can learn from what Brandy's learned. And the more we talk about it, the more we can help other people, that are
what
going
I
through
have
this.
learned, what you and I together have learned.
Yeah, all of us.
I had to go to Atlanta one day. I realized that some things that had been said to me were not true. But I didn't think about it at the time. And I called Lana, and I figured that she would tell me to go get, as Brandy says, vent. We had a long conversation, and everything is back on track. She could have easily been like, screw you. Right. And now here we all are. I mean, it was like, it sounded like 5 hours, but it was like 5 minutes, and we're like, okay, we're past that. That's what adults do.
No, but it's true. It was, I could recognize, I think, in that moment that it was part of your own growth process as an individual and learning. And I knew that, wholeheartedly knew that down to your core, same as myself, your intent was for the family, was good. So I knew that, and I'm glad that I knew that, and I'm glad that we were able to have those conversations and that we can all heal and continue to be a unified support for this family, because I have seen other people that have been part of their support system drop off in a way, because of the attacks and because of the crap and because of the BS and the lies and drama. And I don't want it to be that, I want to learn and I want to be better. I want to be a better advocate for families, and I want to learn to do better. So when Brandy comes to me and is like, look, sweetie, like, I love you and I know you meant this. However, like, this is how it came out to me. I bite my tongue and I listen and I hear her and I take those words to heart and I do better the next time, because I want to do better as a person and I want to help other families, and I want to take, her and I both want to take these experiences and format something to be able to better help families. We're just not sure what that looks like yet,
And I'm saying this publicly. It was very hard for me to call Lana and apologize because I knew I was wrong. But this is what happens when you're an adult. And one day, Brandy might call us both and say, get bent.
Oh gosh, I hope that day never happens. I would cry my heart out, and
No.
if she did, I probably did something to deserve it.
Nope, not at all. No. But I'm just happy that we got through that, and you didn't have to accept my apology. And you have to admit, I'm a very bad apologizer. You know.
Well, you probably don't have to do it often. But no, you were a very good apologizer, Brooks. I think, like you said, just being an adult and being able to take accountability and go, okay, wait a second. Like, I crossed the line because I reacted emotionally. And that's basically what I remember you saying to me, was just you took information and reacted emotionally rather than, calling me, talking to me, working through whatever. And we had that conversation, and that's what it takes, And
I don't think I used the word emotionally when I called
something
you.
like that. I'm trying to grasp what the word is. I can feel it like on the tip of my tongue. And then
I said I was a total bitch, is what I said. And I said, I don't want you to ever talk to me again. But we don't have to be friends, but I want to be on the same side.
Yeah.
I don't have the nice terms like other people do. I just don't. But
no, because you have the other terms with the Southern slang to it, that really gives a punch.
Yeah, I need some help. Can someone write me a PC dictionary? I need it. Because Lana about shit and fell back in it. And I'm like, listen, Lana, I was a total fucking bitch. And now that I
was
know,
like, yep.
Yep. And Lana just sat there and we went through it. And I was like, it's 100% on me. Look at Susan taking up for me. That sounds like our Brooks. Thank you, Susan. Thank you. Britt has an idea for a book. How to Apologize for Dummies. LOL, write the book.
No, I think Brooke's title should be how bitches need to apologize. You got to put the bitch in there somewhere. How a bitch apologizes, or something like that.
I like that.
The real bitch way to say sorry, or I don't know, something.
I can help co-write that.
Are you sure?
Oh, Brandy.
Well, I mean, I have a brain.
Yep.
So, and I've been very good about, I'm surprised I still have a tongue after these past 3 years, to be honest.
Brandy, since you're writing the book, Pat Kay just put $20 in. She said, you couldn't do what you do, Brooks, if you were a pussycat. Are you going to put in the corner again?
Am I going to what? I'm sorry.
Put her in the corner, tell her to sit down.
Pat, sit down. Stop it. Enough. Behave yourself. Mind your business.
Angel B said, thanks so much at Pat K. Will you adopt me? Here's a funny story. Here is a funny story. When people are on the phone and my husband's on the phone, sometimes I'll hand the phone to Greg because I have to pee all the time. I'm like a turtle. If something touches me, I've got to piss. It's a true story. Hang on. Is piss racist? Can we say piss anymore?
No.
Oh my goodness.
That'd be a good title for a chapter. Is piss racist? ?
And so, what I'll say is, here, Greg, you take the phone. And then I go, I pee. Yes, I wash my hands, the whole 9 yards. And I have said before, if something happens to me, Greg has his pick of the litter. He's already picked Pat K. He's like, because she's rich. He's like, I don't want no broke bitch again.
They still have hope, and they give us hope. And they keep us going.
On the 3rd anniversary of Michael's disappearance, the community gathered for a ride in support of Michael and his family.
Show them that we're here, make sure they understand that they've got a whole community backing them and they don't feel alone in this process.
Police believe Michael's remains were once buried in a backyard close to his house. However, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children released an age progression photo of what Michael would look like today at 8 years old. Fruitland's police chief released a statement for the anniversary saying, "Despite the possibility of confusion, we found it necessary to make the photo public as an additional resource in the search for Michael, who is yet to be found. We believe we have a firm understanding of the events that occurred on July 27, 2021, but it ultimately depends on the Payette County prosecutor to assemble the case and move it forward."
We will continue to push forward until this family gets closure.
1,096 days with countless people rallying behind them.
Until Michael is physically brought home, however that may be, this family won't get closure.
So we need everyone's help still. We continue to need everybody's help to stay vigilant for Michael.
And there are 4 suspects in this case, including the people who lived in the home crews searched. Their names are Stacy and Sarah Wandra. And any tips on the case can be sent to the Fruitland Police.
Suspects. But I think it's interesting that the new reporter from KTVB, and this is not my local news, specifically mentioned Sarah and Stacy Wandra. What did you think about that, Lana?
I think it's because those are the 2 primary individuals that we believe orchestrated and executed the abduction of Monkey. It's, I believe Brandon and Adrian, yes, they were there, they were involved, all that, but I think this was primarily a motivation of Stacy and Sarah's.
I want to go through some comments, and I totally agree with you, Lana. Walking Dead has a question for Brandy. She said, "Brandy, may I ask, do you have any tattoos of Michael or something that reminds you of him?"
Yes, I do. I have his initials tattooed. It's my only colored tattoo. It's on my right wrist. It's the it's the patch that was made by one of the bikers. And it's a blue heart, black outline, and it has his initials, MJV, and the bottom left-hand corner says Hope, and then there's a little monkey on the other side, the right-hand side.
Oh.
And that's I got that one just to, and it's where all my bracelets sit for Michael. Him and Buggy's tattoo, that's why the right side of my arm is still empty because I haven't I'm waiting. I got all of the other kids' tattoos. Well, I haven't gotten Buggy's yet. But I was going to do Buggy and Monkeys together because Tyler and I were going to do them together. Our idea was to go and have, because I love steampunk, and we're going to have clocks done, and from both of the times they were born, and fill the rest of my right arm. But yes, I do have my only colored tattoo, the only colored tattoo I have, which is blue, and it's got a part with monkey's initials and a monkey, and it says Hope.
His favorite color. Britt said suspects. ... Evidence. You're exactly right. Mrs. Information Erica said they wouldn't be suspects if there wasn't evidence to support that. They would be persons of interest without evidence. They are suspects. They have not been more clear about that.
Exactly.
Now let's go back to something else that Stacy said to me. This is from Spirit Seeker Squad. She's not in here today. She needs to be. What the hell's going on? I love that girl.
Because the toe strap came undone, it snapped because Sarah jolted the truck and snapped the toe strap. So I
Impossible.
Exactly.
Impossible.
I've towed a million cars, not a million, but I've towed many, many cars, especially with tow straps. And there's no way in hell. I am sorry. I don't care how. You should be in the Olympics then if you tied a tow strap back together to move a vehicle all the way back here. From there, where you said a snap, no way in hell. No, not happening.
Off topic, speaking of the Olympics, has anyone in here boycotted the Olympics? Because I'm on the fence about it. I don't think that what happened at the opening ceremonies has anything to do with the athletes. Why should they be punished for something they didn't plan?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure all that out. I was trying to explain it to Tyler last night when he got home from work.
I don't even know what's happening. I'm not following any of that. So I'm like, what? Something happened to the Olympics? Or I was like, the Olympics are happening? Like, I saw Snoop Dogg share something that he was running the torch. Are they pissed about that? Because Snoop Dogg's great. Like, I thought that was awesome.
Oh, Snoop Dogg's been commentating. Like, I watched him commentate last night.
He's really enjoying it. Now, what happened is they mocked the Last Supper. And
Yes.
so a lot of
who
Yes.
did? The Olympics?
Well,
wow.
Let's not talk about those right now.
Yeah, no, I didn't, but I really didn't know. So I will go look into that myself off
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know about that. Wow. Go ahead.
over for a second because the toe strap came undone. It snapped because Sarah jolted the truck and snapped the toe strap. So I had to, we had to pull over, and then I had to reattach or tie the toe strap back together. And then Sarah, I think, used the restroom on the side of the road like she usually did.
Sexy. Why in the hell he said like she usually did. Now, listen, there are bathrooms, okay? There are bathrooms. There is toilet paper. So for Sarah to be on the side of the road, could she not wait to get down the hill? Because they took a very strange route from Kuna to Fruitland. And they did not get back at 8 o'clock at night. It was dark. His Google that he sent me sums things up, but another creator thought it cleared them. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That means from 6:30 to 11:30, they were out of Fruitland. That's a lot of time. It doesn't take that long to go to Kuna and get some broke-ass Mercedes and bring it back. But it was one conundrum after another. One after another. Toe strap broke. How the hell does that happen? And without a tow bar, my husband had this question. Without a tow bar, how did you go down that hill? We've been down that hill. My husband's taken many loads to Idaho. Many. And he's like, without a tow bar, how did it happen? Now, obviously, the Mercedes came back into the neighborhood. The one that Tina gave to her son in April. Gave to Brandon Shirtliff. That's on his Facebook. Why did you tie a knot if you had an extra toe strap? Why did the Mercedes have to be picked up July 27th when it was gifted to him in April by Tina? Why would you tow it for spark plugs? That's a $15 fix if you're just doing all of them. Why can't these master mechanics just get it going and not have to tow it? All of it is a diversion for the abduction of Michael Vaughn.
When we had no access to a restroom, but then that was the only time we had stopped.
I mean, why didn't she use a bathroom at Brandon's mom's house?
She did.
Oh, okay.
Her bladder is ridiculous. I've never met somebody who has to pee as much as her.
Yeah, well, you haven't met me.
Maybe not.
My friend Kat, who's in here, she'll tell you I'm like a.
Thank you. Doing the best I can, I want people to know, like, I'm not this evil monster that.
Well, you are, because he has an explosive temper. He does. And I have felt the wrath of that. Don't get me wrong. Trust me, I didn't stay up in bed hugging my pillow crying because Stacy got mad at me. But he is a monster. He has an explosive anger problem. Okay, he does.
Well, he not only did it to you, he did it to Justin as well.
Mm-hmm.
And did you do Josh as well? I can't remember if he did Josh. I know he's done it too. Yeah. Yeah. He's is perfect. He's not, this mean monster. Yeah. Sit down, you SOB.
You
Excuse me.
wouldn't
Sorry.
believe they got the light end of it. You wouldn't believe what he said to me. And one thing I was so worried about Justin because I know how Stacy feels about people that are what's the PC term? What's the PC term? I don't want to be called homophobic or anything. Justin's married to a man. And Justin said, I'm not worried about it. Well, what was the first thing Stacy attacked was Justin's sexual preferences.
Right.
People are making me out to be. I don't have the capability or mentally.
Put those up, baby, please.
So Brandon's
Ouch.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Brandon's I guess ex-employer said he's basically like a
Brandon's ex-employers. I don't know that. Mentally stable.
We're at Brandon's mom's house. You said Sarah used the bathroom. Did she walk in the front door or how did she get in?
Through the garage.
Now I'm going to talk about the garage for a minute and the coughing and the yawning. We have seen it in other cases. Hunter in the Summer Wells case. Anyhow, the reason they didn't go through the front door is because of the camera. Don't think for a minute that Tina really wouldn't allow Brandon to be at her house. Don't think for a minute, even though she was out of town, that is her baby boy. She takes care of him. She has pride in him. She thinks he's going to turn everything around and be better. She does. She has had police at her house. She has had cadaver dogs at her house, and she still sticks by him. Why? I would love to know. I love my sons to the moon and back. But if I had cadaver dogs that told me that they were at my house and a cadaver dog scented a missing child, I think I would just have to love them from afar. We've seen some enablers over the years. We have seen it. She takes the cake. Welcome back, Brandy.
Hi, Hen. Sorry.
Is it like one of those garage doors that you hit the button and the garage door comes up? Or is it one of those like where you pull it up?
No, it was the garage door button.
Who had the garage door opener?
He knows the code to the little thing that's on the side of the garage that opens the garage door. The pin you put in. Code opener.
Is there any cameras on his mom's house?
Yeah, on the front, but it doesn't cover the. She went through the far side of the garage.
Is anyone smelling what I'm stepping in? The camera covers the front, but he has the code to get into the garage. The camera only covers the front.
Right.
And they all went in, except for Mr. Innocent Stacy. He was too busy, even though he's so pissed that Brandon is taking Sarah to Town. He is too pissed about that. But on July 27th, 2021, he felt it to be important to go get that Mercedes.
Exactly.
Now,
washing the clothes, all the things.
Washing clothes. They brought a duffel bag.
Mm-hmm.
On the side of the garage that opens the garage door. The pin you put in. Code opener.
Is there any cameras on his mom's house?
Yeah, on the front, but it doesn't cover the. She went through the far side of the garage, and she only has cameras on the front of her door.
And that was the day that Michael was abducted.
Yes.
And that was on the day Michael was abducted. He said yes. Who the hell's trying to call me? No, not right now. I'm busy. On the day Michael was abducted, he said yes. I said abducted. He could have easily said disappeared, wandered off. He knows the terminology. Watch his face again. When I say to him, but it's on the day Michael was abducted, and he, without a pause, says, yes.
That opens the garage door. The pin you put in. Code opener.
Is there any cameras on his mom's house?
Yeah, on the front, but it doesn't cover the. She went through the far side of the garage, and she only has cameras on the front of her door.
And that was the day that Michael was abducted.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, man.
How come Brandon wasn't living with his mom? Well, according to Stacy, it's because his mom didn't want him around. Not true. Not true. Brandon moved out. He was living the high life with Sarah and Stacy, and then Adrian moved in because they found him behind a dumpster, and Sarah brought him back to the house. I agree with Ilyanka. Just Cat said, plus other evidence like scent dogs and investigative evidence on movement. Damn right. Ilyanka, why too detailed about that camera for a one-time visit? Yeah, you're just there to tow a car. The car was not in the garage. You really? If Sarah pees outside on the side of the road all the time, then why did she just not pee out in the yard? The car was not in the garage. It was on the side of the house. Why did they have to wash clothes? Why did they have a duffel bag? Anything you want to add, Brandy?
I just want it to make sense. Like, honestly, I mean, I know a lot of things can get thrown in a wrench get thrown in what you do in a day. You know, I have 4 children, so I know exactly what it feels like. But for all of those events to happen on the day Michael was abducted, and you were here, and Michael's scent and dogs and evidence has been found. Yeah, all I hear is lie, 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 and lie. That's all I hear. It's disgusting,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes me angry, very angry.
However, investigators can get through their lies because they're trained, and they can figure out how their lies correlate with the evidence that they have. And let me tell you something. Stacy, Sarah, Brandon, and Adrian would love to know what they have. They would love to know.
I would, and I don't. To be honest, they're not going to give up. There was promises made, and I don't break promises. You made a promise to me. I'm going to make sure you damn well keep it. So I was made a promise by Mr. Huff and Portland Police Department, ISP, the FBI, and I told them all, Michael is coming home. Hell or high water, no matter what, we will find him and we will bring him home. And if we have to use the professionals and trust their process, and they have to sift the lies because they have badges, you know, we don't. So it's what they're trained for.
Brooke said, yeah, why did Brandon want them to avoid cameras so much that he made sure to tell them where to park and where the camera is? That is the question on the day of Michael's abduction. Why would he care if his mama saw him go in to get his car? He wouldn't care. And she wouldn't care. She might say, now, Brandon, you can't do that anymore if I'm not home. You can't eat all the Oreos.
Probably.
Now, Brandon, now listen, Brandon, do you need more money? Brandon, you're my boy. But that night, he told everyone where to avoid that camera. He told everybody how to get in without being spotted on a camera. And if I was his mama, I would have prayed that I would have let that wad drop on the carpet because he is worthless. I mean, he is nothing but worthless. I understand that wasn't a PC thing to say, Brandy, but you understand what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying.
All right, you guys, I'm going to run off of here. That's all we have today, but I do have to say thank you so much because you have no idea the step in the right direction we have made today. Pat K, thank you. Diana Howery, thank you. Maria O'Sullivan, thank you. Rusty, thank you. Retro Girl, thank you. Kiki, thank you. Jen 405. I still want to know if you're from Oklahoma City because that's their area code. Stillwaters, thank you. Kat, Kamari, Bonafide, Harry Bishop, Missing with Manda, Marisay, Big T, Angie Baby, Pat K again. Damn it, Pat K, you're in trouble.
I told her to sit down.
What we have to remember is that we're going to keep going forward. I don't care if there's only 10 people in the chat. We know this is not a drama case that people like. We know that. I don't know who really likes a case. I don't know who really likes the bullshit. I don't know those people. But I will tell you something right now. This channel and my family, and you guys are my family, will never stop. Brandy, you are the strongest woman I have ever known in my life. And
thank you.
anything you need, you know who to call.
I know. And I love you and appreciate you so much. And thank you for everything you do. And everybody, the family, CLO family, everybody. Thank you for being here for Michael. It's a tough road right now, but we keep going because Michael is still missing. And we are going to bring him home, and we are going to get him justice. Brooks, thank you so much for everything, and I love you so dearly.
I love you too. In closing, let's have a reminder of what we say on this show all the time. When there's a crime and there's a victim, Michael obviously is the victim, but the web goes further and further out. You have law enforcement that has been severely affected. You cannot tell me the detectives, Huff, FBI, Idaho Search and Rescue, all of it are not deeply affected. You cannot tell me that. And you certainly can't tell me that Monkey's older siblings, his little sister, are not deeply affected by what these people have done.
Monkey.
Which one?
That one. That one for Monkey and that one for me.
That's for you. We better keep him safe, okay?
Okay. I see a Wilming.
Bloom?
Yeah. Me and that monkey car.
And what do you see if you see Monkey's car?
Yeah. And he's that way or that way. The which way?
You like that one?
He's getting closer.
Oh, Marshmallow.
You're sad about Monkey?
I am very sad about Monkey, my love.
Yeah, me too. I miss him.
I miss him so much.
Let's draw him a picture.
Yeah, let's draw him pictures. More pictures? Lots of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, let's throw a picture at him and put it on the sidewalk. He see it.
Yeah?
I make a sign for him. I make a mermaid. He loves mermaids.
He loves mermaids. Okay. All right, well, let's go get the chalks. Mommy's got to go get them.
Okay.
We love you, Brandy.
I love you too. Can you say bye, everybody?
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Buggy. We love you, Buggy. Everyone say love you, Buggy.
Everybody's saying they love you.
Look, heartbroken. Everybody's crying.
Yeah. They miss Monkey like you.
Yeah.
I miss Monkey too.
I wish they was at my house.
I know, honey. Me too. Mwah.
And what was
Love you,
that
Rex.
too?
Love you guys so much.
What was so sad about Monkey?
Yeah, I know, baby. Okay. I'm gonna let you go and go love on this monster.
Okay, love you.
Love you. Bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
You guys are the absolute best, and this is how I know from day to day you're here for the right reasons. You are here for the right reasons. Listening to his little sister tears my heart out. Tears it out. Again, thank you for everything. And yes, I will make sure Brandy gets it. No way in hell she's not going to. Thank you, Mod Squad. I know we had a couple of people that still don't understand the case. Hopefully, they get caught up. You guys are the absolute best. If I don't see you in Discord or in the Facebook groups, then I'll see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Love you.